How many hearts have you broken with those great big beautiful eyes? Those great big beautiful eyes that tell such beautiful lies.
How many times have you kissed somebody like you kissed me then? I don't.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and all ships at sea. We interrupt this broadcast to bring you an important message from the Prepared Mind Network.
Have you any idea how successful censorship is on TV? Don't know the answer? Successful, isn't it?
Hell yes, we're going to take your AR-15, your AK-47. We're not going to allow it to be used against our fellow Americans anymore. Hell yes, hell yes, hell yes, we're going to take your AR-15. Hell yes, your AK-47. Hell yes, we're going to take your AR-15.
Oh, hell no!
Hell yes, we're not going to allow it to be used against our fellow Americans anymore.
Well, hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Prepared Mind channel. It is a whacked out, wacky Wednesday. It's July 3rd. I really hope everyone stopped by and checked out my July 3rd special Zero Dark, not quite so dark broadcast today. Discussing, is July 3rd today any different than July 3rd in 1776? Well, a lot of people could argue, wow, we're not that bad. And a lot of people could argue, actually, we're worse. We're worse off. The reason Americans are not insurrectionists the way we were years ago is because, well, we've got more food, more comfort, television, drugs. Right. There you have it. Folks, I think we're worse off. In the 1770s, it wasn't colonist versus colonist. It was colonists being attacked by the king, the king's judges, the governors of the king, and of course, the redcoats, English soldiers. Today, we've got to worry about the king, Biden, the king's magistrates, the judges like Ketanji Brown Jackson, and all of them. All of them, folks. Judge Ergadan. I refuse to say his name properly because he's a little asshole. Right? And then what else do we have? Governors. Right? But it's the people on the street that me and you, run into every day that are really the most dangerous. An actress from the show Orange is the New Black basically outgrew her intelligence and told Biden, hey, it's time to assassinate Trump. Quote, take him out, Joe. The threats from communists, socialist Democrats, if you want to be nice, their threats are increasing in intensity, in frequency, and in severity. In my opinion, violence is imminent. Over in Europe, folks, over in Europe, the Muslims are joining, the jihadis are joining Antifa, and they're trying to create a very large force. And they're assaulting everyone they can. Issues in Germany, they're very afraid. So they are doing what I guess an injured, fearful animal would do, and that's attack everyone and everything around them. I believe in Greece or some other country in southern Europe, right? They're having problems. It's everywhere, folks. But they're calling for it here in America. Just everyday, run-of-the-mill, moronic Democrats actually believe, and I'm not having to be facetious here. When Democrats demonstrate to us that they do not grasp the English language, critical thinking, or even remedial education, like an 8th grade education, they don't understand words that are spoken, words that are written. They literally think that a president, according to the Supreme Court decision, can do anything he wants, including murdering his political opponents, murdering Supreme Court justices, murdering their enemies. I mean, I literally read a tweet from a Democrat who said, it's really bad out there. It really is. It's just, it's terrible. Let me basically said, you need to kill your relatives and friends that are Trump supporters because they will kill you first if you don't. What? Based on what? Based on what intelligence? There is no intelligence here, folks. None whatsoever. But they're doing that. They're telling each other that you're going to need to kill Republicans, Trump supporters, before they kill you. I think violence is imminent. Not everywhere, but a lot of places. I mean, the White House, in fact, there are insiders who have reported to the outside that, quote, everyone is freaking the fuck out in the White House because of Biden's decline. They're saying it's pandemonium in the White House. This is what I don't understand, is how could the Democrats and their supporters and their Washington insiders and everybody involved in the administration not realize that Biden's decline isn't recent? It's been going on for years. So right now they're in panic mode. But all of this, folks, could have been avoided with a dignified resignation 6 months ago, a year ago, 2 years ago. But like Ruth Darth Vader Bader Ginsburg, right? The dark heart of Democrat, socialist, communist, Supreme Court fame. She refused to resign. Ended up dying while Trump was president, and he appointed a replacement. And that's just incredible. Absolutely incredible. They are freaking out, folks, everywhere. And this is incredible. They're losing the minority. It's incredible, folks. Now, hardcore leftists, they're attacking Trump because of the black jobs or jobs that blacks have. Whatever the comment was, they're misinterpreting it or interpreting it the way they want to hear it. But get this, and I'm no fan of his. I don't listen to his music because I'm not from the hood. I'm a white guy. But rapper Waka Flocka Flame, he's at his live concert, and he told everybody there, Biden supporters, get the fuck out. Kicked him out of his concert. All Joe Biden this is a quote, all Joe Biden voters get out. I guess blacks ain't black anymore, since more than ever they are voting Trump. Remember, it was Biden who said, if you don't vote Democrat, you ain't black. Divide and conquer is failing, folks. It's failing. Now, the most ignorant, the most uneducated, and of course, those who are accepting welfare, they want Biden in the White House. They want Democrats in power, and they want their freebies and handouts. Everybody who has any money and has a job, they like Trump. And, it's incredible, folks. In a lot of ways, the dam has broken. There is a huge push by Biden to convince everyone he's fine. And there's also a huge push within the Democrat Party to do the exact opposite. But now 25 congressional Democrats have formed a little union after the catastrophic debate. Is catastrophic too big of a word, too harsh? I don't think so. But they're going to demand that Joe Biden step down, end his presidential campaign. 25? That's a significant number. You see, they're not really worried about Joe Biden. 25 is a significant number. How much do you want to bet that those 25 congressional Democrats want Joe Biden off the ticket because they are in districts that are very competitive? And the longer Joe Biden stays on the ticket, the less enthusiastic those voters will be. And if he stays there to the end, he is going to continue to demoralize the Democrat voter base. And we're going to have a huge landslide in Congress. Huge landslide. Don't worry, though. The Democrats will cheat and continue to cheat and cheat all they can and then cheat some more. It's disgusting that they're cheating the way they are, folks, but that's how they roll. That's how Democrats have always rolled. Incredible stuff. Yes, and there is a drug addict in the White House, and I'm not talking about Joe. I'm talking about his son. Right, he's meeting in there. He's helping Joe Biden. You really think so? And now, folks, Democrat governors are going to actually meet in the White House instead of having a private meeting, not inviting the White House or their staffers. They're now going to meet in the White House, governors, with Joe Biden. I find this fascinating. Gavin Newsom will be amongst them. Wouldn't it be terrible if the White House, I don't know, something bad happened in there and all those idiot Democrats lost their minds? I don't know. Maybe something catches on fire. I don't know. It would be terrible, though, to lose all those Democrats. Actually, it wouldn't. I'm sick of pretending to be nice. I've had it with these people. They don't deserve air to breathe because they're such incredible liars and supporters of absolute evil. Absolute evil. I want to give you an example. Now tell me, I'm going to tell you about this person. I'm not going to tell you the name or what they did as a job. And tell me if this is not a typical Democrat. This typical Democrat, in my opinion, refuses to accept the claims of the Israelis that Hamas used rape as a weapon and raped Israeli women that they kidnapped. Right? Hamas claims it's justified to do that, to rape women. In fact, there's a Muslim woman on Muslim TV who says it's okay and it's accepted and it's allowed for Muslim men to rape non-Muslim women and girls, to humiliate them. So if they're allowed to do it just anytime, why not during war as a weapon? Okay, does that sound like a typical Democrat, that they refuse to believe what the Israelis say is going on? Well, let me tell you who this person was. It was Roger Waters of Pink Floyd. He doesn't believe these claims. And there, as far as I'm concerned, is proof of a drug-addled mind. I love Pink Floyd music, folks, no doubt whatsoever. But a drug-addled mind. I've seen Roger Waters quite a bit. I didn't know he was Palestinian, I guess. But if he, Roger Waters, doesn't believe ham-ass would do such a thing, and same with Democrats, it's just evidence to me of how they think. It's not a good way to think, folks. Just going to refuse to accept some of the facts because you don't like all of the facts. I don't like either side in this entire mess. But I do understand that if you're attacked, that you're allowed to defend yourself. I don't like the fact that wars happen anywhere. I don't like what's going on in Ukraine. I think that Russia is completely justified in the actions they've taken. And I believe that Ukraine is actually being harmed by this. Not by Russia, though, but by NATO, Washington, D.C. leadership, if you want to use that interesting term. But NATO and then Zelensky is committing genocide against the Ukrainian. I don't like it, folks. I don't. But here we are. And we have to deal with it. We have to deal with it. So the left is lunatic-minded. They're lunatics, folks. They're crazy. Oh, by the way, on this whacked out, wacky Wednesday, get your comments. down below, because in the second half of the hour, second half of the show, it is going to be your turn with your questions, your thoughts, your predictions, your observations. But for now, we're going to continue with what I've dug up today. I think that the tranny freaks, the LGBTs, trannies, gays, bis, non-binary, how can you be bi if gender doesn't exist? Because we've been told that there is no gender, that gender is it's a man-made creation. Anyway, so to be bi, you got to be one or the other. And what cracks me up with languages like Spanish, French, Italian, and Portuguese, the words have a feminine or masculine connotation. For example, in French, it's le or la. Le being masculine, la being feminine. Anyways, how do you say you're non-binary and use a male pronoun? Anyway, let us continue, if we shall. These fruitcakes are moving from fruitcakes to murderers, to mass murderers, and then they're moving up now. They're moving on up, folks, to serial killer type status. Go trans freaks, go. Get this, a transgender freak. To me, it looks like a guy with a floppish, moppish hair and some makeup. This transgender freak of a guy has been arrested. Why? Because he got in a car crash and there was a body in the trunk. Now, the only people I've ever known that really put bodies in trunks is the mafia when they take out the bodies to go dispose of them, or serial killers. But, you know, when it comes to trannies and gays and bis and lesbians, intersex, fruitcakes of all colors, right? Love is love. Have you heard enough of that? Have you seen enough pride flags? Love is love. Why do we keep hearing about these people being, well, serial killers, mass murderers, family killers, friend killers, lover killers, as well as Christian killers, adult killers, free America killers, Trump killers? Love is love. I'll tell you what, I've seen churches with rainbow flags here in Florida. They're just asking for a murderer to come to their church. Literally. They're asking for it. It is going to become more widespread, in my opinion. It has to. Because it's not being discouraged. What is being encouraged is these people showing up in public and bringing their psychological disorders to the forefront and then making everyone deal with it. Crazy stuff, folks. And it is a wacky, wacky, wacky Wednesday. It's not going to get any better. I mean, does everyone remember the non-binary pup handler and luggage thief? That's right. Biden's grand theft luggage thief of a administrative helper, Sam Brinton. He stole thousands of dollars in fashion, jewelry, luggage, etc. Took photos of his freakish self and posted them on the internet, only to have the people who he stole from point him out. Well, guess what? There are two sets of rules. There's rules for thee, as in we, the people, and then there's no rules for these freaks. The screaming queer, that would be the Q in LGBTQ, gets a plea deal, avoids jail time for stealing thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars, not from a store, but from private citizens. But even though he's not going to go to jail, folks, don't worry. He is still going to be a butt pirate. That's still part of his lifestyle. I don't think going to jail would be punishment for a freak like Sam Brinton. The guy is an awful looking human being. Right? You can't stack camel shit on top of horse shit, on top of elephant shit, on top of cow shit, on top of cat shit, and then somehow all that shit see a priceless work of art. Oh man, I tell you, rough stuff. We got Uman in the house as our moderator. Get your questions down below in the comment section. You can be here live every day if you're on the preparedmind.club as a premium member or subscribestar.com as a premium member. It's only $2 a month, but your $2 that our premium members put out there make this show happen. So thank you guys tremendously. Now, tomorrow is July 4th, Independence Day. Independence Day is what the holiday is called, and Americans just love to say 4th of July. 4th of July. I'll be reading the Declaration of Independence, and you will hear in that reading an indictment of the Biden administration, of Washington, D.C. politics and bureaucracy, and an indictment of the modern globalist, fascist, communist superstate. Hang on to your hats. Now, back to what's going on in the election. What is driving the Democrats to madness? To madness is the fact that Biden won't resign. He's trying to figure out a way to resign, but he's not resigning. I don't understand what the deal is. He's got qualified immunity for all his official duties, but he may be afraid, folks, that if he gives it up and loses, or the Democrats lose, he will be potentially investigated and tried for his crimes: bribery, extortion, graft, malfeasance of office, because he did have a duty to protect the southern border and he didn't. I do not want Trump to be nice. I do not want Trump to be kind. I do not want Trump to be generous. I want Trump to be a hard ass and go after every last one of these people by directing the Attorney General's office and the Department of Justice to prosecute these fucking scumbags. Folks, it is so bad. Biden is so bad that even The Atlantic is telling Biden to resign. Right? The Atlantic, a left-wing, repulsive, vomitous rag of crap media. The mainstream media is rejecting Biden, folks. They're afraid they're going to lose. They're afraid of what this means. You see, there's a difference between losing and getting trounced. Trounced. Right? The New York Times, though, had what I would consider to be an exclusive, that Biden says he's considering departing the presidential race. Cracks me up. You know what the condition is on this? He wants to convince America that he is not a doddering fool, that he's not a doddering old fool. Do you think he can pull that off? He had 90 minutes to show how dynamic he is. In fact, I did catch a Democrat trying to show the difference between Biden and Trump. They said Biden had ideas, and they kept counting up all the ideas. 1 idea, 2 idea, 3 idea, 4 idea. I can tell you some of Biden's ideas. Abandon Afghanistan. Allow Americans to be killed. Start a war with Russia. Promote a war with Russia. Abandon Israel. Support Israel. These are great ideas. Leave the southern border open. Kill gas exploration. Kill the Keystone Pipeline. Kill exploration in Alaska. Those are all ideas, and they all suck. So I don't think it's really about having ideas. But Democrats don't think of it that way. They're like, well, at least he's got ideas. And then they want to say Trump doesn't have any ideas. It's incredible, folks. The difference between me and you and all the Democrats and all the screaming leftists is incredible. It's not like we could sit in a room next to each other and talk. There is a chasm, not a ditch, not a causeway, not a basin, a fucking chasm like the Grand Canyon. It's not that you just can't reach across the aisle and shake their hand. You can't even talk to them. You can't even hear them. And likewise, they refuse to hear us. But yes, the New York Times says, hey, Biden told them, he let them in on it, that he's considering departing the presidential race. Well, it's a little late to try and do it gracefully, but who knows, folks? Who knows? Now, while all of this is going on, who is going to replace Biden as congressmen demand it, as people on the street are afraid to death, but they're demanding it? The media, politicians, everybody in the know is like, dude, you got to get out. So who are they going to replace him with? Get this. Senior Biden campaign officials are feeding the information that the top choice, the number one draft pick to replace dusty, crusty, filthy, perverted sniffer Joe Biden, the top choice is none other than, drum roll please, Kamala Harris. I ain't kidding you, folks. That's a joke, but it's not a joke. It's a joke without being a joke. Senior Biden officials, not one but multiple, are slowly leaking it out there. And I tell you what, I triple dog dare them. I'm going to bypass the double dog. I'm going to just go right to the triple dog. The blowjob in chief, the hot tui in chief, Kamala Harris, isn't qualified to manage a Starbucks, much less manage the White House. Not the whole country, just the White House itself. I don't think she could manage the cleaning staff there. Why are they selecting at this time Kamala Harris? Is it to give Michelle Obama more time to get a more appropriate wig? Is that what's going on? Right, Michael needs a new wig. Michael needs to go on a diet for a while, lose some weight. Last time I saw Michael Obama, she had a set of back muscles that could beat Lee Haney or Arnold Schwarzenegger in a contest. Huge. I tell you, folks, they're pushing Kamala Harris. And who knows, they may get stuck with her. They really do, folks. They may get stuck with her. Wouldn't that be a hoot? Right? It would be a hoot. And they've got more trouble than you can know. Okay, the Democrats are losing the black vote left and right, huge percentages. Same with the Hispanic, Latino votes. They're losing those. What else are they losing? They're not losing the white female liberal vote, but they are losing their radical Utes. And the threats of violence from them are becoming, louder. The violence is going to come. And the lefties, folks, they're eating their own. The radical ham-ass protesters sent a letter, an open letter to the progressive left. The progressive left meaning Democrats. I love how the media tries hiding as if we might accidentally confuse progressive left with Trump. And what they say is, we are not loyal to our oppressors. In other words, all the Democrats out there that have dual citizenship with Israel, all the leftist politicians out there who support Israel, all the leftist politicians out there who do not kiss the ass of Hamas, right? Those are their oppressors. Now, of course, they don't like us either, conservatives, but the violence is coming. I expect these left-wingers to go off the rails. As I stated at the beginning of this particular show, Antifa is joining forces with Hamas. I really can't wait to see this coalition of losers, BLM, Hamas, Antifa, Queers for Palestine. Talk about strange butt pirate bedfellows. Wow. Look out. It is a wacky ass Wednesday. Folks, a wacky ass Wednesday. And before I switch over to your guys' comments, No, I'm going to save this. I'm going to save it. Let's go to you guys. Let's be fair to you guys. You've waited. It's now your turn. Woo! And we're back. Mr. Ooman, what a day. What an abbreviated week. What a world. And it is getting crazy. What do we want to talk about today? Let's start with Mr. Chin Music, if we shall. Always a show and fan favorite, Mr. Chin Music. He says, the black immigrant lesbian wig stand. I need to translate this. He's talking about Karine Jean-Pierre. She is an immigrant. She is black. She is a lesbian, and she wears a wig that looks like a busload of curly fries were magnetized and all stuck to her head from all strange angles. Anyways, he says the black immigrant lesbian wig stand is completely out of answers, and it's glorious. Later, peeps. Thank you, Chin Music. She's out of answers. Today, the press corps at the White House were very disrespectful towards Joe Biden, towards the White House, and towards Karine Jean-Pierre. They made little snotty quips like, is he awake? What drugs is he on? Gotta love it. And Karine Jean-Pierre says, that's impolite. We're not going to go with that. She's out of answers. How can I'm surprised she's made it this far, this long. She is an idiot. But imagine being told that you, with all of your intellect, your education, your experience, your training, your insider knowledge, your wit, your wisdom, your sharp as a tack brain, we're told day in, day out, day after day, week after week, month after month, and even year after year, your sole job is to go stand in front of an audience of people who are going to spread your message to the rest of the country and even the world. And you're going to have to lie, and then lie some more. That's Karine Jean-Pierre's job. She's never been any good at it. Not because she has integrity, folks, because she's a fucking moron. But she's never been good at it. But yes, she seems to be out of answers, out of responses. How do you make an excuse for somebody clearly not there? Joe Biden's elevator does not go all the way to the top. The lights are on, but no one's really home. His cheese really has slipped right off the cracker. He doesn't have both oars in the water. No, they're not there. He's not paddling anywhere. The guy's lost. Absolutely lost. Jill Biden, Dr. Jill, the First Lady, seems to be the one in charge at the White House. And she's doing more than just picking out decorations for the Lincoln Room. Anyways, thank you, Chin Music. Great comment. Always love making fun of Karine Jean-Pierre. Idiot extraordinaire. What are you guys doing for Independence Day, 4th of July? I'm going to do the usual stuff. I will be consuming alcoholic beverages. I'm going to probably barbecue, hot dogs, hamburgers, Florida, though, has an incredible amount of fireworks. Every 4th of July I've been here, it sounds like 1776. It sounds like a fucking war zone. Luckily, the PTSD that anyone could say I should have based on my life's experiences doesn't have an effect on me. But I bet people with PTSD really have a hard time. Last year, the firework smoke, right? You light off a little firework and that big smoke roils and there's like a cloud and it floats off. It looked like World War I trench warfare with clouds of mustard gas blowing by. It was incredible. Florida loves their fireworks. The 4th of July, Independence Day, if you will, celebrating freedom and flipping the bird to Biden. I hope you have a great 4th of July celebration as Independence Day comes back into our sight. and Americans are reminded of what we left behind and why we did it. Let's continue. Mr. Uman, who's up next? And it's none other than Uman himself. And he says politicians can learn more from Kenny Rogers than some dumbass rapper. You got to know when to hold them, right? Know when to fold them. Know when to walk away. Know when to run. That would be Kenny Rogers from the very famous song, The Gambler. Kenny Rogers, he is the gambler. And in politics, folks, there's a lot of gambling going on, right? They need us to buy their bluff, accept their lie, right? And, right, have a seat at the table, put down all your money. They play a couple of tricks, spin around a couple of cups, and then give you half your money back and tell you, you won. Wow. Anyways, yeah, I don't think politicians are going to learn anything. They've learned all they need to know to get them to Washington. They're not going to learn any new tricks. What we can do, though, is advise them of the consequences of failure, right? Consequences of failure means you're out of here. And that needs to happen more often. I would like to see term limits in the Senate, term limits in Congress, right? We have term limits for the presidency, 2 terms. You hear that, Obama? 2 terms. Yeah, Obama didn't listen. He put in his favorite geriatric puppet, Walter. All right. But it's good. It's interesting that rappers like this, whatever the hell that guy's name was, rootin' tootin' shootin' mootin' dude, but Kanye West, other rappers, other celebrities, sports stars like Lawrence Taylor, just saying, you know what? Trump's the man. Trump is honest. Trump is decent. Voting for Trump. And yeah, even Lawrence Taylor, folks, a veritable legend in the NFL and also in his own communities. He's been a big charitable man, is my understanding. He says his family and friends, a lot of them are not happy with him, don't like the idea of him voting for Trump, don't like him talking out about Trump. But he doesn't care. He literally says he doesn't care what they think. And that's an interesting place that I guess we have to be. When it came to cerveza bug lockdowns, I had to say, you know what? I don't care what anyone else thinks. I'm not wearing this stinking mask. I don't care what anyone else thinks. I am not going to go inject an experimental drug into my veins. No Jim Jones use for me. It almost feels like we're alone. Lawrence Taylor knows that feeling. Everyone knows that feeling when social pressure tries making you accept something that doesn't work, isn't true, is bad. Kind of like the LGBTQ lifestyle, the open border policy, the let's have an unending war where we send billions and billions and billions of dollars to Ukraine. Crazy shit. Anyways, Uman, I will not quit my day job with the singing, but I think I at least got, well, relatively close to carrying the tune a little. But yeah, I will definitely never be a singer. Who is up next on the Prepared Mind channel on this whacked out Wednesday? And it's Name Redacted. And he says, there is no earthly penalty for what has been done that's good enough. Okay, so earthly penalties. Actually, there is no, shall we say, non-cruel and non-unusual punishment that's good enough. When they came up with that idea, no cruel and unusual punishments, meaning torture, right? If you're going to execute someone, then get it over with. So they came up with many ways to use the death penalty. Hanging or lynching, if you will. Firing squad. the electric chair, and as we move forward with technology, lethal injection. In all cases, they're supposed to be quick, humane, painless, whatever. An example of cruel and unusual punishment would be the former English, or we could even say ancient English practice of drawing and quartering someone, which is to, if you want an example of what that looks like, watch Braveheart at the very end, when the quarters of the man, each arm and leg, are drawn, pulled tight by a rope, right, as if you're pulling everything out of its sockets, and then, drawn, right, disemboweled while you're alive. It's really quite awful. But, yeah, there is stuff, right? Earthly penalty for what's been done. What's been done? Well, allowing children to be groomed, to allow predators near children, predators like drag queens, predators like homosexuals, predators like transgenders, predators like teachers, get near them, predators like those who are on school boards. What they've done, what Biden has done to the military, what Obama has done to the military, what the Biden administration in Washington, D.C. has done to the reputation of the United States of America. And I do know that the rest of the world, folks, at least those with half a brain, understand that Washington, D.C. is not the rest of America. It's not. But still, the respect is gone. Earthly penalties, oh, there's plenty of them, that if they were enacted, the rest of the world would, the rest of the American world would pay attention, and it wouldn't happen again. You might want to look to Muslim countries for this. How about put in a cage, have petroleum fuel dumped on you and set on fire? That would be a penalty that would certainly stop politicians from doing what they're doing, or being stoned to death, or being whipped and beaten mercilessly with a cane, a switch, a stick, or just a plain old whip for hours and hours. How about having acid thrown on them? Right? Another fine Muslim penalty for failing to follow the Quran. Those are pretty nasty earthly penalties. But, I'm a humane guy. I really am. I don't like any of that stuff. I don't like seeing it. I don't like seeing people abused, but it's going to come. And I think penalties actually make sense. I don't like drone operators, folks. I don't like them. I don't like them at all. At least fighter pilots and helicopter pilots who are in close air support missions, right? They have an advantage, but they're also subject to being shot down, killed. But drone pilots, these Zoomers, Gen Z, and millennials that wear their Scooby-Doo and strawberry shortcake pajamas and slippers to work and sit behind a computer and kill people with no consequence. There's nothing invested there. In fact, I responded to John Moschini the other day talking about this. As a soldier, as a Marine, when you're asked to go to combat, you do it for freedom and for your country. At least the Americans are supposed to take that attitude with them, that perspective into the battlefield. But you've risked your life, right? So there's value that's added to winning the war. And when people die, there's value added, right? And if you win the war, say, but people have died, that's the price that's paid. There's value there. To one of these drone operators, these new world warriors, they've got nothing invested because they can't be killed. They're sitting behind a computer screen. That's why I think they deserve some earthly penalty that is good enough. Anyways, that was my aside. Let's do this. Let's move on if we shall. Thank you, name redacted. Mr. Uman, who is up next, and it is Mr. Badass Diving Frog, and he says, John, Kennedy Jr., and he means RFK Jr., came on my screen wanting me to sign a petition for Joe Biden so he can get Secret Service protection. Who's attacking him? RFK Jr. I don't know who would attack him. I'm sure all politicians are at risk from Antifa. All politicians are at risk from BLM, Black Lives Matter, because Black Lives Matter and Antifa are looking for any excuse to riot or commit acts of violence. So they've joined the Hamas pro-terrorist Palestinian movement. And it is their role, they think, to threaten everybody. So who would want Robert F. Kennedy Jr., RFK Jr. dead? Who? Other Democrats, for sure, because he is a threat to Joe Biden. And he will continue to be a threat to whoever replaces Joe Biden if Joe Biden doesn't leave on his own accord. I tell you, folks, I really want, I would like to see RFK Jr. get Secret Service protection. I want him in there showing the world yet another way or manner in which these leftist Democrats are off their rockers. I do like that RFK Jr. is anti-vaccine and that he's anti-Jim Jones juice. I like that. But that's about the extent of it. When you really dig down into these people policies, what do they want? Well, power and authority. What do they want? They want to make decisions for us. I want to make my own decisions in my own life. Anyways, let us move on. Thank you, Mr. Diving Frog. We'll see if Joe Biden signs the papers. I don't know if he can, but the leftists are delusional, as we've noted on many occasions, from the standard street urchin level Democrat up into your local and state politicians, all the way to the top. They're absolutely delusional. And it could be a delusion of RFK Jr.'s that someone wants to kill him, someone wants to attack him, that he needs protection. Well, and then again, right, both his father and his uncle, President John F. Kennedy, and then his cousin, John F. Kennedy Jr., who died suspiciously in a plane crash. Maybe RFK Jr. thinks he's next. Who knows, folks? When politics get contentious, when everything is at stake, heads can roll. Enjoy it, right? Enjoy it. Mr. Uman, where are we going to go next on the show? And by next, I mean it's Village Idiot's turn. Village Idiot's turn. And he says, I'm trying to wrap my mind around the image of President Camel Toe Hairy Ass. Now, it has once again been exposed that her father was a Jamaican. And I've seen a picture of her father, and Jamaican me crazy, man. Yeah, he doesn't look black. And her mother is an Indian from India, right? A Hindi, if you will, and if I may use that expression, to help cast the mind around the world. If her mother is Indian and her father is a white Jamaican, how does that make her black? But yeah, you wrapping your mind around this concept. She was being protested in a foreign language in a country she was visiting, and she started dancing along with the chant of the protests until someone told her, they're protesting you. It is not a song to serenade you. They're not celebrating you. They're not happy you're here. They're protesting you, you stupid bitch, right? Right. Jane, you ignorant slut. Kamala, you ignorant slut. What is Kamala's qualifications for president? Let's see. She's a woman. She has a tan. She's a Democrat. And she sucked off Willie Brown frequently, right? She is the blowjob giver in chief, right? She is proof that Lewinsky can make it into the White House and not have to be on her knees all the time. And I'm being insulting because I am absolutely insulted and disgusted that this woman can be vice president. Now they want to put her up for president. Now, I'm not claiming that I am righteous, that I am without sin, without blame, that I've never done anything wrong, awful, terrible, etc. But I'm not trying to be president. I'm not claiming for myself power to govern hundreds of millions of people. What has Camel Toes done? Thank you, Uman. She can be our first diversity, equity, and inclusion president. If only she was a trainee, she would check almost every box. Oh, you mean tranny? Tranny. No. Enough people have gotten a taste of the good stuff there that they know that, yeah, she's probably got a vagina, right? There's no big mystery there, but she is in my opinion, an awful racist. If you just have to look at her record in California, I don't know how she passed law school. I don't know how she passed the bar exam, but she's an attorney and became the attorney general for the state of California. Miracles will never cease. Unbelievable, folks. Unbelievable. And she's been willing to serve as vice president under Joe Biden. Wonder how many times Joe Biden has groped her. You never know, folks. You never know. He is a crafty old devil, a handsome fellow, right? Hard to resist that guy. All righty. Mr. Uman, where do we want to go next on the show? It is a wacky Wednesday. Tomorrow is Independence Day. And Uman says, great story this AM from this morning. Kshama Sawant. Oh, yes, this bitch. She is a Marxist, yes, a communist Marxist city council member from the city of Seattle. She's anti-police. Let me remind you of who Kshama Sawant is. She is an idiot savant who, during the 2020 riots, used her keys. Thank you, Uman. Used her keys to open City Hall and allowed in protesters to run around in City Hall, vandalize, steal, destroy, etc. This was not an insurrection. No. See, because they just said, well, she let us in, so we didn't commit a crime. So Kshama Sawant, guess what? She's anti-police. She is a huge supporter of Antifa and Black Lives Matter. She is now begging the police, begging the cops to stop throwing shit, human shit, at her house every night. I wonder what she did to piss off so many people. Is it Trump supporters throwing feces on her house? She is a sack of shit in my book. She honestly is a complete, utter, awful sack of shit. So I think it's an appropriate gift that they are showering her with. She crapped all over America. She crapped all over Washington. She crapped all over Seattle. She crapped all over the Constitution. She crapped all over everyone. So I think she has earned all of that crap. Okay, Mr. Uman, I got it. I am on it, and I want to talk to you about this next little bit. Thank you, Mr. Uman, about the Kshama Savant. What an idiot. For the first time ever in the Biden presidency, he's holding an emergency White House meeting. Not the one that has, well, let's see, I'm sure every criminal mastermind, including his son, Hunter Biden. No, this White House meeting, this emergency gathering is for Democrat governors. Democrat governors from every state, right, that has a Democrat governor. They've been asked to join the White House on Wednesday. Can you imagine if you're a Democrat governor and you're like, okay, I'm the governor, I'm all powerful, right? Like Governor Kathy Hochul in New York. Looks like the Wicked Witch from The Wizard of Oz. And Governor Gretchen Whitmer, Gretchen the Grinch Whitmer from Michigan. She looks like a cackling witch from The Wizard of Oz, right? And then you got groveling Gavin Newsom, making no sense. You've got the governor of Oregon and Washington and many other governors beside. New Mexico, Prickster. Oh, what isn't Prickster supposed to make a stab at trying to be president? Wow. Anyways, they're all being asked to come to the White House on Independence Day. Well, number one, all these governors are Democrats, therefore they're not patriots. They couldn't really give a shit about the 4th of July and celebrating it with the state. So they're going to go to the White House. I think it's funny. I think it's ridiculous, and it would be sad if a bomb was dropped and killed them all, or if they were all gassed, or if all the Hamas protesters charged through the gates. Anyways, there's never been another White House meeting that was called where the President of the United States says, I need to see the governors here. Why does he need to speak to the governors, folks? Is he planning on having riots around the country? Is he going to instruct the governors? I need you, and you to let cities burn. Biden shaking them down. Going to take the highest bid. Whoever gives the big guy the most money. First, everyone has to give their big guy the money. It's not like a silent auction where only the person who wins has to pay. I bet Biden would say, everyone, give me all your money. And whoever does the most, I will endorse that person to replace me. That's a great stab at it there, man. Nice. Very nice. You've earned it, dude. Get yourself a beer, man. All right. I think it's funny, though, with all that's going on in the world, this is what the president calls the governors in for a meeting for. Did he call in the governors when it was time to leave Afghanistan, abandon $85 billion in weapons, leave American civilians behind, ally civilians behind, allied military left behind, and then our brave servicemen and women were killed in a terror bombing as Biden turned tail and left? Did he call? No, he's calling these people in because he's a fucking loser. Did he call them in to discuss the open borders? Did he call in the Southern governors, Republican or not, Democrat or not, to discuss opening the southern border and fucking them over? Nope. But when it comes to them holding on to their power, they'll have an emergency meeting about that on a national holiday, the greatest national secular holiday in the history of America and indeed the world, Independence Day. The first people to scream F you to the king and free themselves forever. Well, at least up until now, right? The open border wasn't a big enough crisis. Afghanistan wasn't a big enough crisis. Giving hundreds of billions of dollars to a light in the loafers fruitcake butt pirate in Ukraine did not inspire him to have a White House emergency meeting with Democrat governors. Just to give you a little idea, folks, of how I look at these people and try and figure out what the fuck it is they're doing. Yeah, Kamala Harris to replace Joe Biden. My ass. Now, as usual, or more usual these days, I like to see what has transpired while you and I were talking for the last hour. Well, what do we have here? Wow. The World Bank has upgraded Russia to high-income country status. Don't worry, Russia will not borrow or take any money from the World Bank system. But I thought Russia was supposed to be crushed by Biden's sanctions and Biden's brilliant war. For some reason, Russia is doing better. Funny how that works. And speaking of Russia and the war, this popped up. Viktor Orban, president of Hungary, the new leader of the European Union, has gone down to Kiev, and he has told Zelensky it is time to end the war with Russia. Here's his quote. Quote, if Trump wins, there will be a ceasefire. I really hope for the sake of Ukraine, the sake of Russia, and the sake of all of us that this World War III light is ended. It is time, folks. Chance favors the prepared mind. Tomorrow is Independence Day. Get ready for a great, great, great presentation. Folks, enjoy the day off. Remember what America is about. Remember what it's about and what it means to you. Until we meet again, Semper Fi and Godspeed. God bless America.